Kincaid had thrown the pitch to the batter, and his momentum took him this direction. The batter swung, and the line drive hit Kincaid in the head. But with the winds of change come the pains of construction. If the project becomes a reality, many businesses are expected to feel the impact while the third lane is being added. Right now, this water is very cool and refreshing on this hot summer day. Park leaders are hoping others feel the same way, despite the fact there are no waves here at the wave pool. At this point, the big question is, can the Friends of Cobo continue? Many are hoping it does, wanting state leaders and school officials to take the bull by the horns to make it happen. Residents say the shooting and the standoff that followed are uncharacteristic of this neighborhood, adding this part of Huntington is basically crime-free and quiet. This van is parked outside our studios on 5th Avenue in Huntington. We need your help to fill it with non-perishable food items, and here's the reason why. The extreme heat and power outages from storms has put the Huntington Area Food Bank in dire straits. The department says that they plan to ask residents to subscribe to their fire protection service. Those who don't will be billed for responding to the emergency. Effective July 1st of next year, the Teays Valley Volunteer Fire Department will no longer be part of the Putnam County Fire Board. They are pulling out and forming a private nonprofit fire station known as the Teays Valley Fire Protection District.
I think it's a shame that the fire department has to resort to such methods sometimes to get what they really need.
A spokesperson for the department says as part of the Putnam County Fire Board, the department only received 8% of the county fire service fees. As a private nonprofit station, they believe they could generate more revenue by charging residents for fire service, but some already have reservations.
If they go on their own and no regulations, what's the limit on what they're going to sock you?
Well, if they're private, I guess they could charge anything that they wanted, and we really don't have a choice because we need that coverage.
The department believes the move will help them reduce cost, improve response times, and possibly add some paid firefighters to the staff.
I think it has the potential to be either bad or good, and I'm not sure, as I said, what the ramifications are.
For Teays Valley homeowners, having full-time paid firefighters may help reduce residential insurance rates. The department plans to formally withdraw at the Fire Board's regular meeting Thursday night. Teays Valley intends to continue to provide mutual aid when needed. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the Putnam County Fire Board says they have asked the county attorney to look into the legal issues surrounding this move. That's right, April. Marshall Bailey grew up in a rural part of Putnam County near the town of Poca. Friends and neighbors there are saddened and devastated by this tragedy. So you've known him since he was inception. Barbara Smith knew Marshall Bailey all his life. She was like a second mother and remembers when Bailey decided he wanted a career in law enforcement, proud of the decision, yet she's still worried about him.
Before that, every time I'd hear something happen in the county that he worked in, I'd think, oh no, I hope it's not Marshall. Not that I wanted anybody to be hurt, but he's just like my own son. He played with my sons, he hunted with my sons. He's just a wonderful person. I'm deeply, deeply hurt.
Felt like somebody kicked me in the gut.
That's how Poca High School principal Vic Donaldson described being told of the shooting death of Marshall Bailey. Donaldson coached Bailey in the mid-1980s when Bailey played basketball, describing him as a well-mannered, good student.
Yes, sir, no, sir type of kid, came from a good family, just it definitely hits home.
Bailey is also being remembered as a person dedicated to whatever he did.
You know, he was one of our own, and it just leaves empty space right now.
Donaldson says Poca High School is planning to remember Bailey at the next home football game. Details are still being worked out. We'll let you know what is being planned.
I understand we have some new information just into the 13 newsroom.
That's right, April. A few minutes ago, I talked with a spokesperson with the State Fire Marshal's office. They have ruled this fire as an arson. Investigators on the scene, one by one, ruled out any possible accidental causes. Therefore, they say now that this fire was intentionally set. Now, the other aspect of this fire is those oxygen tanks that were inside this trailer. Investigators believe they have rounded up all of these oxygen tanks that went throughout the neighborhood. One of those tanks went 300 feet into a neighbor's yard.
It was a cannon, dude. It was loud, sparks flew and everything.
Brian Moore lives across the street from the fire. He had just returned home when he heard the explosion. A flying oxygen tank from the burning trailer made a dent in Brian's front yard and rolled down the hill.
It was pretty scary, especially when you look around and see an oxygen tank bottle fly from over there to right there behind you.
Several calls went into dispatch and said that they heard lots of explosions from up here. The cause of that apparently was several oxygen tanks.
Frank Gabrich and his wife made it safely out of the burning structure. He says he was asleep when his wife woke him up because their couch had caught fire.
And we started getting water out of the sink and pots and throwing it, put on them, and they just kept on and kept going.
At that point, the couple had to get out of their home.
Oxygen is an accelerant. Unless it gets to a spark, it's not going to do nothing. If it's in a fire, I mean, it'll blow up. But other than that, and there's no open flames at all in that house. So I don't know how, I have no idea how it would have started.
Now the Gabriches will start the task of rebuilding their lives.
I'm just glad you guys made it out alive all right, because it went up just like in a matter of minutes.
Investigators have determined that the fire started in the living room. Again, it's now an arson investigation. And if you have any information that would help the State Fire Marshal investigators determine, more information on this blaze, you're asked to call this number toll free. It's 1-800-233-3473. We will put that number on our website, WOWKTV.com. Live here in the Charleston studios, Gil McClanahan, 13 News. For the past year, 31-year-old Scott Cunningham was part of Hurricane City Council. Now he stands accused of sending a 13-year-old girl who lives in his neighborhood sexually explicit text messages. According to the criminal complaint, Cunningham knows the victim's family and knows the victim's age.
You know, it hurts when you hear anybody gets arrested for that type of crime.
Cunningham is charged with soliciting a minor via computer. Court documents indicate numerous text messages were sent to the victim from Cunningham. In one of those messages, Cunningham asked the victim to take a naked picture of herself and send it to him.
A little shocked. Just, you never expect someone like that to be in your neighborhood, so. And I think the little girl was friends with my sister, so it's just, it's one of her friends. It was someone I've seen around the neighborhood, and yeah, it's just not something you expect to see.
But then knowing that somebody I know, and knowing that's a Hurricane City Council person, that goes through me. That's even worse.
Why?
Well, anytime somebody does anything to a child, it really infuriates me. I've got kids of my own.
Late Wednesday afternoon, Cunningham resigned from Hurricane City Council. In Putnam County, Gil McClanahan, WOWK. Senator Manchin was actually sworn into office 2 times, one ceremony on the Senate floor and another for family and friends.
Congratulations, Mom.
Joe Manchin is now officially West Virginia's newest United States Senator. Vice President Joe Biden administered the oath of office in both ceremonies as family and friends watched.
I have never imagined having this type of a feeling. Being governor is the most rewarding job I think one could ever have, and the challenges of now being a U.S. Senator representing the people of West Virginia on the world stage is daunting, if you will.
Many made the trip from West Virginia to witness this moment in state history. Senator Manchin's mother and wife stood with him as he took the oath for a second time. The new Democratic senator now becomes part of Congress in a branch where his party holds a slim majority.
I worked with Bob Byrd my whole career. He brought me in. Bob Byrd was conservative on a lot of things as well. And Bob Byrd was a great leader, and I expect that Joe will be one too.
Probably my best description would be mainstream, and I think most West Virginians are mainstream. We have to live within reality. You get up and you work hard every day.
Other senators elected in the general election will take their oath in January. Since Manchin is replacing a sitting senator, the late Senator Robert Byrd, Manchin takes office immediately. Live and local in Washington, D.C., Gil McClanahan, 13 News.